Hello and welcome to Beast Fables, a show that we actually stream sometimes. My name is Brian, I use he, him pronouns, I run Stout Stoic Press, new brand update, and we're back here to do The Beast and the Fables. We totally played an episode last week, and then we didn't even stream it, because we're what? Dumb. I say we. I did not hit go live, which means I'm dumb. I am joined today by three fantastic pals who will introduce themselves. Atlanta, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, hello. I am Atlanta. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on the internet at Alpaca Scribbles, on any vaguely competent social networking site, I guess. And I will be playing Pipistrelle, a definite, wonderful, never not trustworthy little bat person. You could trust her.
Next up, we have got Ver.
Hello everyone, my name is Ver. I am a comic artist and illustrator, and in today's game, I will be playing Balthazar of Blueberry Pond, as usual. And he is, I think, a fairly trustworthy, actually trustworthy, toad, who is out on a mission and might be committing crimes today.
Committing crimes. So, last but not least, Eve. Please tell us about your lizard.
Hello, I'm Eve. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me at Eve G. Wood on the online.
G. Wood!
And I will be playing Thistle, who is a stitcher of great repute and skill. And ego.
Love ego. Sorry for the slight pause there. I realised that I had my speakers on and not my headphones in, and that every time you guys talk, it's just going to be like a double feedback. And I thought, I'm going to turn that off.
Very
so
wise.
now I can hear you
wise.
through headphones. We like headphones.
Hooray.
Headphones are beautiful. Yes, so I'll round up what we did last week into... It was a lot of like... I don't know about you guys. Do you find like the planning episodes of actual plays boring? Because I find it...
It's fun to play, but not very fun to listen to.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah. They're always just sort of like, oh, but we could do this, but then we didn't. And then it's sort of like when you're with your friends trying to pick somewhere to eat. Except this time you're breaking into a highly restricted guild of forbidden knowledge.
I mean, I do that with my friends too, so...
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, just on the down low.
Yeah, it's general weekend vibes.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, that's how we spend our time offline, all of us together.
Yeah, we run a heist crew.
So we last week, you three, Pipistrelle, Balthazar, and Thistle, planned a heist into the halls of the Letterlenders, which we have pictured here. Nadag, the blackbird, who is trying to pursue the knowers for their own ends. Kind of drew out this sort of sketched map for you. And you kind of decided you had three avenues of access to the library, represented by these three arrows here. You could go through the top floor, the middle floor, or the ground floor. Top floor is this sort of like balcony entrance that you could sneak in through, but be quite obvious if seen from above or seen from street level. You could try going in through the front, but it's currently blocked and they're not allowing visitors because of commotions. Piece of information was revealed by Nadag that Commander Bethany, or at least who Nadag thinks was Commander Bethany, a one-armed toad, was seen entering the halls, and that seems to be the reason why they're shut up right now, alongside another interference from a group of beasts that Nadag think was sent at the behest of one Kined. The entrance you are taking, or plan to take, is through the underground loading bay, accessed by these sort of like tunnels exclusively used by guilds to transfer goods and services between the different chapter houses. You wanted to sneak in through the loading bay, disguising Pipistrelle and Nadag as small cargo that's being wheeled in by Balthazar and Thistle. Balthazar and Sissel would distract any letterlenders that were found at the loading bay, and would allow Pipistrel and Nadag to sneak off to the upper levels where, in theory, a library is located, where they could look for whatever interference that Bethany ran, maybe try and find some evidence as to what Kined wanted with the letterlenders, and find a new trail to follow, hopefully towards a conclusion of your quest. To do this, you needed to, first of all, gain access to the guild tunnels. And you obtained a key from the Polticier Farah, the badger who was helping your colleague Thistle. After some berating for breaking through windows and going on this chase a few episodes ago, you managed to convince Farah that you needed this key and that you needed it so that you could help Hayden get to his own guild of Wicker Weavers. And I feel that's kind of like where we pretty much wrapped up. You set a plan, you established what you needed, which was, some things to disguise yourselves. I think you also agreed that Balthazar was going to take off all his armor and regalia, so he was just a toad.
Yes.
So that he's going incognito. Intognito? Something like that.
Oh!
He's going and feeling very vulnerable, and like he's leaving not just a piece of himself, but his friend behind.
So I think we can really start this session wherever you guys want to. The threads we have right now are Hayden is still a little directionless. Your responsibility to him was to escort him out of Grinder's Nest, away from his sister, who's a productive member of society, and just anywhere but here. This was a task set to you by the beaver foreman there, who really just wanted this, troublemaker out of sight. You've got him all the way here safely, but you still have yet to wrap up if you want to just, let him do his own thing, try and find a new place or home for him, take him along with you. That's a thread you've yet to wrap up. You've also got the heist itself to go on, all of your plans to execute, and there are a few other threads of unrest and distrust kind of bubbling beneath the surface. These stolen crates being sold around the market that I think Pipistrel saw. Balthazar's hearing of people wanting to isolate themselves from the outside world and not care about the plight of animals outside of Summit's walls. That was another thread. So really, the direction of what we do today is up to you.
Well, I think we should quickly wrap up Hayden.
Literally,
and get
just
going.
In a bag.
Just kind of like put him in some bandages, wrap him up, put him in the corner. He'll look perfect in here. We can leave.
Is this Thistle or Eve?
This is Eve, and maybe a little bit of Thistle. I think because we brought him to the loading entrance of the Wicker Weavers. Am I right?
So yeah, I feel like we could play that scene from the beginning, if you wanted to.
Okay. Yeah. I'm
so
happy to do
that's
that.
what we're going to pick up.
Because I think worth noting is that we had, upon returning to Farah, we had found Hayden making bandages with the, I forget what the tools were, but basically
Like a
he was
loom.
kind of having...
Like a really basic
loom.
loom.
Yeah, he was kind of having fun exploring artistry in that way, and then he's like, "Oh, okay, we're going." So it was a little like, "What do you want to do, buddy?" Yeah.
I think he was a little reluctant to come with us to the Wicker Weavers in the end because he wanted to stay and play with the loom. But Pipistrel, I don't know if she convinced him.
It was all a little bit rushed because we were just kind of wrapping up, and then it's like, oh wait, there's this whole thread of Hayden that I think, like, I personally feel could have used like new attention. Yeah. So yeah. So do you want to take him away, or chat with him here about like, hey, do you want to go to the Wicker Weavers? Like, what's going on, buddy?
Maybe because we're here in like this kind of like just empty chapter house of a of a guild of like a guild place. Maybe it'd be good to kind of just ask him like here, like right in front of all this.
Why don't we start the scene from the guild house then?
Yeah.
And we'll pick up there. Nothing has happened, so to speak. So it's a completely fresh scene. So I will change the music from honky tonky because we like a bit of honky tonky, but not all the time. So you obtain a key to the underground, semi-private guild tunnels. Any guild member has the right to use them for business, but they are generally closed to the public. They're functional tunnels. You get a sort of a large old brass key that allows you to unlock the doors of this sort of space, or these tunnels. And the door itself has multiple locks on different sizes of door that all connect. Sort of like a barn door opens both top and bottom, if that makes sense. This large guild door is big enough for, maybe several badgers, a small wolf or something, to really, squeeze through if they get the largest door open. But you guys open a much smaller door that sort of goes, and you walk through and you see all the different hinges and this larger kind of constructed door. The guild tunnels themselves are equally big. Like the city itself, it's a large artery that splits off into smaller veins, and each one is a different guild or chapter house. The larger tunnels lead and kind of circle and spiral towards places like the Ore Beaters, who are closer to the top of Summit and have air channels that lead straight out so they don't, smoke up the city. And there are other guilds. There are the who are the bank again? The Seed Sprout Bank. And you notice one of the tunnels leads to the Letterlenders. It's easily signposted. And the smaller tunnels lead to more specific guilds. The Fish Finders, for example, who don't necessarily have a huge outpost here in Summit. And eventually you find a very tight squeeze, small, thin tunnel that's reinforced with strands of reeds that have been sort of like laid against the stone and reinforced with clay here, that leads you towards the Guild of Wicker Weavers. The door itself is not actually locked. It's simply a complex weaving of large, thick canes that could be hacked down if you wanted to. But with Hayden's advice, Balthazar, you're able to just sort of like remove certain poles, move them down, unlock them in such a way that eventually the whole door clatters into a pile, and Hayden goes, well, I can put that back together. But we're in. And you all enter into a rather cold space. It's a little dusty. It's a storeroom, most definitely. The chamber is larger than the tunnel, but not by much. It's quite long, and along one side are all of these sort of like barrels of various thicknesses of canes. There are empty troughs that have been stacked that are for holding water, for soaking the canes. There are a few tools, some spades, some rakes, a couple secateurs, some clippers, sort of things like that, arranged in like buckets and against the wall and things like that. There is a hammock full of boxes and parcels, and along the walls are old oil lanterns that have a layer of dust on them as thick as the floor. Clearly not used for some time. Hayden manages to sort of dust one off and light one, and as this tunnel has this room has no air shafts, it's the only real source of light in here. This sort of like flickering orange lantern light that casts dark shadows across the walls. And he sort of looks around with a... It's hard to make out the expression on his face. I don't think he quite knows how he feels about the space. There's a sort of a sense of determination, but also something towards disgust. Not disgust, like doesn't like it, but just sort of like a disappointment. Yeah.
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of high hopes, but whatever there were, they were dashed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because Balthazar would be looking around and just kind of say, well, I see all the tools for wicker weaving, but where's the other weavers? Have we approached from the wrong side, or is this the entirety of their workshop? It It looks like nobody's been here for quite a while. Kind of prods
Hayden
at
sort of... Oh, go ahead.
dust. He
Yeah.
just kind of starts like, dusting off some stuff because he's very neat, very clean.
You start dusting and realize that, like, sort of like when you clean with a dirty rag, you're only pushing dirt around. You're not actually removing it. You dust off one bit, and the dust just makes the dust thicker elsewhere. And you're kind of polishing one thing a little haphazardly. Well, not haphazardly, just sort of. This is a real labor here.
It's
Unsuccessfully.
task.
Yeah. And Hayden sort of takes a few more steps into the room and sort of like wrinkles his nose. He's like, I think this is it. I mean, my sister did say it was more of a storeroom than a guild hall. The weavers don't really need a guild hall at a city, I don't think. We sort of send our products in on carts and we get things back, but we don't really stay. We tend to live out where the reeds are, you know, the rivers and the waters and the bogs. And he sort of trails off as he sort of is poking at some, sort of like a cane that's been stripped and then soaked in dye, so it's willow, but it's like a deep red, but faded with time.
I deeply apologize, but my headphones had disconnected for a moment, and I'm not sure if he had answered me. I only came back to the description of some kind of red tinted items.
He did answer, and it was just sort of, my sister said that this wasn't really ever going to be a guild hall, more of a storage chamber, but I didn't even really expect this.
Yeah, okay.
Vibe disappointed.
Yeah. Balthazar kind of looks around then as well and says, well, I suppose it's could make for an entirely good workshop, though, couldn't it? What you did with those bandages back in Farah's place, it was a different technique, but you have all the tools here to explore just what you could do with them in your own way, couldn't you?
Yeah, I could. And he sort of is perking up at this, and you see him sort of like pondering the different kind of projects he could do with these canes. And then he kind of... You see him start to, like, drift and get a bit carried away with it. He's like, oh, I could do... Well, I mean, I always wanted to try doing a bear, and then I could do some deer. I know what they look like now. And he sort of, like, looks at you, a little glance, Pipistrel, and then kind of looks back to the canes. And he says, but he kind of, like, rumbles around in his jacket. He sort of pulls out. He goes, well, I am part of the guild, but I don't know if I'm allowed to use this stuff. And he sort of looks at you, Thistle, and says, if you were a wicker weaver, would you say that this stuff is for use? Like, do the stitchers just have, like, a chest of stitching stuff that people use?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Totally. It's just all yours for the taking, really.
He sort of brightens. He's like, oh, really? Oh, well, maybe I could use this.
Yeah, you've got what you've got. You got Thistle's like looking around, trying to name literally anything in this room. You've got scissors. You've got those.
You point at like a shovel that's got like a slightly serrated edge for like cutting into turf.
You've got all the sticks you could possibly wicker weave.
I think I don't want to explain. You probably meant it, but it's wicker that we weave. So that's a wicker, and that's another wicker, and the collective noun is wicker. It's some people think it's wickers, but it's not. And he sort of trails off.
Thistle is nodding. This is probably the most enthusiastic they've ever been about anything Hayden has ever said. And it's because they're trying to get him to just like agree to stay here. Yeah. Plurals of wickers. That's so happy for you. All right. Well, if you're sorted, best be popping off. And they kind of jerk their thumb behind them. wiggling their lizard eyebrows at Bestrel and Balthazar.
And sort of Hayden's little eyes grow twice as large, which isn't that big for a bat.
Aww.
Says, but before you go, is there any way I can reach you, contact you? I could send you letters, or not. You know, it's cool. Yeah. Well, you're probably really busy. I'll just let you go. You guys are such professionals. You got stuff to do.
Oh my god.
Well, I think we're on the move for a little bit, but if you send any letters to Blueberry Pond, to Balthazar, I will make sure to get them when I return home. If you would have any samples of work that you could send, perhaps you could find some patrons among the toads. We do really appreciate artistry.
That's really cute.
And he sort of like writes in dust, in the dust like on a barrel, Balthazar, Blueberry Pond.
My god, what a sweetheart.
He's like, yeah, I definitely will. And if you guys want to leave anything here, or if you need somewhere to curl up for a bit, always welcome. And he kind of like waves his wings, like, you can see I can offer plenty of room.
Well, I suppose not until you start building those amazing statues of yours. They're quite the size, aren't they?
I wonder if... I'll have to build the limbs, and then the head, and then the body, and then I'll have to take it out to assemble it.
That sounds fantastic. Alright, so Balthazar, if you want to get your armor off. Pipistrel, if you want to find a barrel.
No love lost here, clearly.
Yeah. I think Balthazar just kind of listening to Hayden talk about assembling a thing, and he's just like nodding, and says, "Oh, there's so much space out in the marketplaces. I'm sure people would love to see like that giant a deer or Horus."
A Horus. He's like, oh, I could make a collection, and then I could display them. Oh, this is. Mark your words. You'll be back here in a year, and there's going to be animals everywhere.
Well, there already are so many. That line's live ones.
I mean wicker ones. If I have my way, everyone will have a cousin. Same size, and they'll be able to pose them, and you can put clothes on them, and then you could talk to them. How cool would that be?
I think maybe Grinder's Nest was right in wanting to get rid of Hayden.
I actually at this, like, Balthazar will kind of ponder and say, Hayden, you should go out and speak with the people in the marketplaces. I know that some of them were selling textiles and clothes. Maybe they'd like a wicker animal to put clothes on so other beasts can see what they would look like on them.
Oh my god.
That's not a bad idea. And Hayden is nodding, and that you sense a confidence in him that he hasn't had yet.
Yeah. And I think Balthazar will, like, ponder further and say, I think, see, the role of an artist is, it's like a community service in a way. You innovate and you create things that perhaps people didn't know they need until you present them. But if you speak with all the residents of this place, sorry, what is? I totally forgot what this Summit. If you speak with the residents of Summit, well, it looks like they don't have an artist like yourself. Perhaps you could find among what they need ideas for your art that will also be functional, such as these wicker beasts.
Yeah. And I feel like at this point, maybe you've got half of your armor off or something. And he's like, oh, wait, stand over there, against the wall. And he takes out, he grabs a stick of wicker and he draws your outline, of your toad outline, against the kind of the dust in the wall. And says, I'm going to make a toad. And then more people will know about toads.
Balthazar thinks and says, I think a toad got into trouble here a few days ago, so...
Oh.
Actually, what? No, more people should know about toads, I agree. Yes.
and Thistle, could I make a little lizard as well?
What do you want to do with the lizard? Just have it.
Well, it's an example of my work. No. Well, I was going to make a lizard, a replica, I think is the word. And then I was going to take it to the market and say, hey, you could put clothes on a lizard. And it wouldn't be you, it would just be a wicker lizard. But
if you're going to use my likeness, I would like it to be a thistle lizard. It's not going to be just any lizard. So you'll say to people it's a thistle.
Okay, I will.
A lizard, a wizard.
Lizard Wizard is literally currently my avatar on Discord.
You can tell them it's a thistle wizard.
Thistle Wizard.
So, Hayden eagerly draws outlines of everybody, and then starts to light other lanterns in the space and starts to start dusting and clearing out sort of like places to work, and seems to be very involved in this task, and happy to be involved in this task.
Good.
I suppose I don't feel quite as bad about sort of leaving him in a hole somewhere, really.
He wants to be in this hole. It's fine.
It's true.
This hole has supplies.
He has his crayons and his wicker. He's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Balthazar will kind of like hunker down next to Hayden as he is enveloped in this work, and he says, "Now, Hayden, I'm not sure how long we will be in Summit, or when we will return. I think that these wicker beasts are a good start, but you will have to find in yourself a confidence and a courage to go out and speak with people and see what ideas that they need, since I suppose until you find some patrons, your art will need to also be something that sustains you. Will you be able to do that? Treat it as a trade, not just a passion."
I think Hayden is a little shyer about this. I can totally talk to people. It'll be fine. It'll be great. I'll just go to the market and I'll bring this thing. I'll bring, and he sort of, I think he's quick. He's already got like a circle hoop put together that's kind of cracked a little bit because the canes haven't been soaked. He sort of bent some thin pieces into sort of a sort of egg shape, and is trying to put on 2 more egg shapes to make the very framework of a toad head. And he's sort of like holding it up again, like sort of beside you, going squish. I'll just bring him the toad and be like, hey, you should trade with me, and then they'll trade with me. It'd be great.
I don't think that's how it works, Hayden. You're gonna have to explain to them what this is.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah, I'll just tell them that like they can put clothes on it, and it'll look really pretty, and everyone will like their clothes more.
Balthazar considers this and says, I'm not sure that's the strongest pitch. It sounds like you need some kind of agent or somebody. We don't really know any. We only kind of know Fatna and that snake. Not Fatna. Farah.
Yeah.
I think Balthazar kind of puts a pin in this and just says, yeah, just like perhaps we'll need somebody to take care of the marketing side of things. Keep an eye out, I think. But you start the work here. Looks like it might take a little while. And I think Balthazar's like a little torn because he's like, man, this kid like doesn't have the gift of the gab over here for his art. I think he turns to Thistle and to Pipistrel, and says, perhaps as we're looking for a barrel or something out in the market, or while the two of you look for an appropriate vessel, I might speak to a few beasts, see if someone might take this young one under their wing, proverbially.
I think Pip would kind of appreciate Hayden's enthusiasm, but ultimately kind of like look at Balthazar and like nod quietly and say like, I'm sure he'll be fine once he gets going, but I don't think it would be the best idea just to leave him alone unchecked in this empty guild hall, I suppose.
Hayden, when was the last time that you ate a meal?
Well, I had some biscuits at Poltissier Farah's. They were on a plate in the hall, and no one stopped me from eating them.
Balthazar kind of turns to Thistle and Pipistrel and says, my god, he doesn't even know how to feed himself. He kind of gives Hayden like a little pat, and says,
He sort of scrunkles his head up into his body.
Yeah. Oh.
Like an accordion.
But yeah, Balthazar just says, well, I suppose that's part of growing up. It's learning how to take care of yourself when someone's not there for you anymore. But it's also alright to get all the help that you need. So, I'll have a look around, see if someone could help you where we cannot any longer, yes?
That sounds great. We could even say it's a collaboration with the Guild of Blueberries. Blueberry Ponds?
Oh, we're not a
welcome the
guild,
name.
we're an order.
The
I
Order
don't
of the
think-
Blueberry Ponds.
Balthazar just kind of pats him again on the shoulder and says, Dear Hayden, this is not a collaboration, it's just kindness.
Oh, okay. He sort of nods and sort of seems a little introspective of that. Seems to be thinking about that.
About?
As in, just like it seems like the words had weight with him. Is what I mean. He's just thinking about the
Yeah,
words.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe just as a quick follow up to this, Balthazar will say, the path of an artist is not easy. I am not one. I am but a soldier, a knight. But to create as a means of survival does not sound like an easy feat, and I don't think it will be particularly easy for you going ahead, starting out, but I'm sure that we will find fellow souls here that will be willing to help you along the way. Much like your sister did back home. Yes?
Yeah. And I feel like this is a good moment to zoom the scene out. You've reinforced what he wants. He's feeling more confident. So I feel at this point, maybe Balthazar, you leave with him, with Hayden, to go to the markets and maybe talk to some people, set up some links. And Thistle and Pipistrel, maybe you're preparing for the heist to come.
Mm-hmm.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys are the appropriate ones to prepare for a heist. Well, I take care of a child.
So, Pipistrel and Thistle, you are going to, in theory, be coercing, persuading, and breaking your way into a 3-tiered guild. what do you think you're going to need for that?
So we have in the lost episode, we planned to write a letter. Since this is the Guild of Letterlenders, we were going to write a letter that Pipistrelle could have on her person, or on her bat, if she and Nadag got found, or asked why they were in the guild. So I guess I'm assuming like we've written that letter, and I cannot remember what we decided it would be about.
Maybe Nadag. That's what Nadag's been doing while you've been helping settle Hayden. Nadag's been like, right, I'm going to go write that letter, and then I'll meet you guys at a certain space at this intersection of streets that we totally predetermined.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now,
Nadag's been writing a letter, and she's making it sound it's very important. It's about a collection of books that would like to be donated to the Letterlenders library, but they have to be delivered in person.
Yes. And Thistle did reluctantly give up one of their guild seals in like episode 3 or 4 or something, when they were in the river. Their letters all got ruined, but they took off the guild seals. So they're going to give one of those seals to Nadag to put on the letter, so it looks very, very official.
Yes.
And now I guess Pip needs to get all grotty in some ash or dirt or whatever it is to disguise herself.
Yeah, because I can't decide. I can't remember if we decided if Pip was going to go through as like in something or like attached to something else.
Yeah, I think we were going to put you in a barrel or like a box. You and Nadag were going to go in boxes that Balthazar and I were going to take through.
That's it. So yeah, I think that's so. I'm assuming in this kind of old, disused, Wickerweavers guild chapter house, it's probably quite dirty if it's not been used in a while, and dusty. So I think Pip would just kind of try and find like the dirtiest, dustiest corner. Like if they've ever had to burn anything, if there's any like ash or soot or something, she'd just start like.
Yeah, there's definitely like a brazier somewhere where they burnish things, and you are able to very easily essentially comb soot and dust and dirt all the way through you, so that the color of your fur changes, so you're now just a very consistent grey-brown.
Nice. She took off her hood and her little tunic to do this, so she could actually like blend in, because her hood is blue and her tunic is green. So she's put them into her like her messenger bag, her rucksack, which she still has. I guess I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I'm gonna have to hide it somewhere, probably.
I guess you could like pop it wherever Balthazar's hid his armor.
That's true, actually. I think she'll put it with his stuff so it kind of stays the same. But like now she's just a little dirty bat. It's a little black and grey bat.
You have an entire city's worth of resources. Were there any specific tools that you wanted to bring with you or try and resource as well? Or do you just want to go in naked as the day you were born, so to speak?
I mean, if there is like something that would be good for cutting, like just because I feel like if we're going into like the Letterlenders, it might be useful to have something that can kind of like quickly slice through like paper or boxes.
Smart.
So like, and I assume in a Wickerweavers chapter house there might be like, tools for, cutting reeds and canes and stuff. So I think Pip starts looking to see if there's anything that actually is useful for cutting in general that she can
I have my scalpels and things.
Oh, that's true.
But if Pipistrelle doesn't say that that's what she's looking for, Thistle would not offer this up, because I don't think they have any concept of like what they would need to bring on a heist. They're just like, yeah, we'll go in and get the things.
I suppose actually the other thing is like maybe just a little bag to put things in, like she can't take a messenger bag because it's too big and it's like leafy green, so it's kind of gonna stand out too much. But like I don't know, the equivalent of like a little bum bag, I guess.
I think if you you spend some time fiddling and crafting around, I want you to make a cunning roll for me. This is relying on your senses, your ability to kind of foreplan and do. It could also be a vigor roll if you want as well, relying on old skills that your parents passed down to you as people who work with fabric.
Let me see. I'll do a vigor roll. I don't think there's anything I can tag that would be helpful here. I mean, could I train one of my new skills actually?
Yeah, what's that?
Could I train my sleight of wing? Sort of
Ooh.
being a little sort of slightly naughty thievery type bat. Being like, ooh, that could be a useful little thing. Nobody will mind if I borrow this just for a little while. I'll bring it back.
So I have no problem with training a skill here. I just don't think Sleight of Wing fits, because you already have free roam of everything in this storeroom, because Hayden has allowed you to have it. And I don't think constructing something counts as Sleight of Wing.
Okay, fair enough. I'll just do a straight vigor roll then, and see. And hope. Yay!
Critical success! Okay. I'm going to say that you you scavenged some bits of fabric out of a box that was originally used for sort of like tying large bundles of wicker together. And you sort of, stitch them, you kind of take all the thread out of one scrap of fabric and sort of like stitch a bunch of others together, and now you have a pouch that goes underneath both wings, sort of like holsters that you could stuff things into.
Nice.
Awesome. Helpful. Because I don't know, I just feel like if we end up taking stuff from the Letterlenders, but if I'm going in completely nude, I'll need to put things in somewhere.
You feel very sure of their construction. Anything you put in these bags won't fall out or come loose.
Hooray! I love being the child of tailors. It's very helpful.
Was there anything else that you guys wanted to prep for the heist?
I guess are we gonna take a box from here?
Yeah, you could grab a box or a barrel to hide Bristley and Nadag in.
Okay. I guess, like, Eve, I'm sure there's stuff that I need to prepare, but Thistle would not be thinking of them. So Thistle is going as is.
Cool.
I think... Oh, sorry.
Oh, can Balthazar, when he's on the market, also look for something?
Yeah? What does Balthazar want to look for?
Something akin to, like, ball bearings that's, like, marble, so if something goes wrong, he can trip and be like, no, my marble collection! And it will, like, all spill over the ground.
Yeah. Okay, so I was going to sort of do it as a single check to sort of establish how well you're able to sort of, like, hype man Hayden.
Okay.
So
okay.
I think I might tie this in. Could you make a willpower, I'm suggesting, because it's the most social stat. You kind of like making connections with people, pulling on their emotional strings, making those sort of like passionate talks. It would be a willpower check to sort of just like hype man Hayden and try and play second fiddle, so to speak. Like let Hayden start these conversations and then hand them over to Hayden to sort of introduce himself and talk about Wicca, and maybe keep him on track when he starts talking about like the horses he's made, and be like, and maybe there are these beasts that you were going to make that you could, what did you say you were going to do? Oh yes, I was going to put clothes on them. And you can steer the conversation. So that sounds like a willpower check to me.
Yes. Can I tag my mediator skill as
yes you can.
Someone who is there to not interfere, the positive version of interfere. I forget what you call it. I guess mediate. Alright, here
Facilitate.
goes nothing. Facilitate. Yay!
Critical success. You do as well as you can.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, as part of this, you managed to negotiate the start of a contract for Hayden.
Hayden.
And it's
Yay!
yeah. So it's not for a wicker beast. It's for a toy maker in the market who wants Hayden to make marble runs for him, and as samples for him to take away to use to like get the size of the marbles and the little clay beads and stuff like that. He gives both of you a handful. No bag, just sort of like, here's the marbles. I want runs that spin and spiral, and maybe a wheel that goes click, clack, 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 clack as one runs past. And Hayden's like, uh-huh. Okay. I've never made one of those before. What do I do?
Just imagine that you're making a long, winding snake that can hold a marble. You could make it look like a grass snake, and at the end it comes out of its mouth.
It opens its mouth and it eats the bead, and then it rolls out the other end. But then the tail goes. He full on gremlins into making the grass snake. And
Balthazar's
he's sort of
super
like
excited. Balthazar forgets that he's supposed to go on a heist. He's like, I want to see what color grass snake.
So you now have a collection of like clay painted, fired, glazed marbles, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Balthazar loves these. He's like, he will not want to spill them, but if he must, he will, but he just wants to keep them. I'm gonna add that to my inventory. Glazed beads. Glazed painted beads. Awesome.
Beads.
Cool. Balthazar, I guess, escorts Hayden back to his thingy, like sits there and looks at him starting his work, and then is like, I was supposed to meet Pipistrel and Thistle, my goodness. Best of luck with this, Hayden. I hope that I'll be able to drop by and see it in action, and if not, well, I'm sure that our paths will cross again someday. I hope to hear of your success here in Summit.
He's like, yeah, come back and see the snake. And he's sort of trying to use a very rusty water pump that is part of like a general cistern. And he's sort of like grabbed onto it with his bottom like feet claws and is flapping up and down to try and get the amount of mass and weight to make the pump move. And like little gurgles of water are coming out into a bucket. And he seems very involved in making this project.
Awesome. Balthazar kind of nods because he genuinely wants to come back and see Hayden. He's excited for him. He's gonna probably come pick up his armor at the very least. So
yes.
He will say, just Hayden, in your excitement, please do not reuse my armor for anything. All right? It's very important.
And he kind of turns and says, yes, I won't touch your stuff. It's very important. It's in that barrel, and I have, and you look over and you see it's what a toad be, not what a toad is, if that makes sense. It's sort of a scribble that's toad in spirit. It's friend-shaped.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is all that needs to be there.
And you sort of, he points and you nod and he nods, and it's sort of like, yes.
Yes. Well, in this case, see you later. And Balthazar, we'll take off. I don't know, is he just snaky?
So, animals wear clothes for practicality, so it's not naked in the way that we would think.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm just like, he's just out there without his armor, therefore, he's probably just like, can he, when he was on the market, can he Donald Duck it and just have like a little shirt or something, but still have, his toad bottom out, just cause like, I don't know, it's funny.
He's got like a t-shirt that says like, I'm with weavers.
Yeah. Or something like I went to Summit and all I got was this T-shirt, like something like that.
I feel like he needs to have a T-shirt that says like, "If lost, please return to Thistle," and then Thistle has a T-shirt that says, "I'm Thistle."
I'm Thistle. Yeah.
No, Thistle says, "I am not Thistle."
I am not Thistle. Pipistrel's wearing a T-shirt that says, "I'm Thistle."
In all seriousness, I don't know what this type of outfit is called in English, but it's sort of like a crop top but a jacket. So it's just like a little jacket T-shirt that a
little bolero.
Oh, so that's what it's called in English as well. Okay, yeah. So basically, just like a little bolero he just kind of picked up somewhere, and it's just like a little accessory, like it's made for frogs or something.
So it's too small.
No, frogs are similar build. It's just like maybe he's just slightly too big for it. It's supposed to sit a little differently. Really has a little thingy.
It's not made for a beast of your physique in the sense that it fits, but your arms look really hench in it.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's if you flex, it's really tight.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
But you have a sort of little jacket.
So he's not fully. Yeah. Just so he has some little clothes on, just because. I don't know. I think that's like cute to have like a little thing.
Also, I feel like there are little elements of your armor that you can keep. For example, you have a padded jacket underneath the armor.
Oh, this is
doesn't
true.
have insignia on it, and you have like a belt that you could have.
Yeah. So basically, he sort of looks like Shrek.
Oh no.
Oh no, this is what we've done. Oh, you know what you really need is the obligatory baseball cap and glasses for incognito mode.
Yes.
One of those like nose glasses combo.
Yeah. Oh, he'll have his like
I would love it if the glasses were like over your nose but like didn't cover either of your eyes.
Perfect.
Yeah,
we're giving more thought to Balthazar's heist outfit than like the actual plan, which I'm a big fan of.
Vibes.
Sorry, I just wanted him to. I just didn't like him going like just with nothing, because I'm just like, come on, he has to have something on, at least a little shirt. But
yeah.
Cool.
So you meet up at the designated meeting spot, which I'm going to say is in the underground tunnels. You sort of bustle in behind a bunch of middle-aged otters with sacks of dried fish. And they're sort of like wandering through, and they hold the door up and go, "Oh, dearie, would you like to come through?"
Aww.
Who are they speaking to?
Oh, they're speaking to Balthazar, who's kind of like meeting in the underground tunnels.
Right. Balthazar says, of course, thank you. And then he goes to hold the door for them, and it's like this never-ending, like, no, please. Oh,
no, but after you, of course. Oh, thank you. Oh, what a strong young frog. Oh, whittle, like, kind of goes through. You meet up with everyone. Nadag is there, sort of just waving a wing over the freshly written letter, drying the ink, then scattering some dust on it to like age it a little bit, and then sort of crumpling one side and then folding it up to make it look like it's traveled. She says, "Well, it's a lot better than my dye job, but I think it'll do. Now, Pipistrel, you've got the barrel that will go in, and Thistle, you should have the letter, and Balthazar, there you are. Are we ready to do this?"
I have a shirt and a pocket full of beads. I have never been more ready in my life.
And she sort of looks at like your little jacket, and there's like two little bulges of like just beads in the jacket. And she just sort of nods her little head and goes, "Okay. Is this a bad idea?" No, I've never had a bad idea in my life. We should do this.
Yeah, let's go with it. Let's go.
Well, I feel like if Commander Bethany did this, if it indeed was her, then it's fine if we do this.
I think Pip is sort of looking a bit nervous, and all she does is sneeze because she got soot in her nose.
there is a very thin little of dust that kind of trails out around you when you sneeze.
No.
You leave a little bat shadow on the ground.
God.
Pipistrelle, you
God.
can't be sneezing. You're going to sneeze off your whole disguise.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, it's very sooty.
Thistle tries to like pick up the soot and put it back on Pipistrelle.
Oh,
It
Now
only leads to more
they're-
sneezing.
Their little claws are like all sooty as well.
Mhm.
That's really cute.
Okay. Well, I think we should just strike while the iron's hot, and I think that's what the Orbiters say. Anyway,
Well,
so
get
we're
in
going to go.
the basket then, and I'll pick you both up.
She gets into the barrel, and sort of like tries to flatten herself against a water leave space for you, Pipistrelle, as well. It is a
Mhm.
very tight squeeze.
Oh dear. Pip gets in, but with like many apologies. Like, oh, sorry about the soot. Oh, I'm sorry.
Ow,
And she
ooh,
sneezes.
ah,
she sneezes again.
Ow,
And she's
ow,
like,
ow,
I'm so
ow, ow,
sorry.
wait. No, my... Oh, okay, yes, and then I will... Okay. And you're sort of both, like, hugging each other in the barrel uncomfortably.
Yeah. Oh no.
How sweet.
Balthazar, you pick up the
cool.
barrel.
Yeah,
go ahead.
it like not only does he, not have his armor, so suddenly he has a lot of freedom of movement,
Uh-huh.
and like not all that weight on him. He picks up the basket and he's just like, I know I watched them get in, but it's like it doesn't weigh anything different.
It also helps that, like, they're hollow bones. You pick it up and you almost, like, topple over
Yeah.
backwards with just how much you fling it. You're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely that, like, yeah, going in anticipating to pick up something heavy, and it's not, and you just go like,
Mhm.
whoa!
Oh,
Yeah, so
wow.
he kind of, like, hoists it up, maybe shaking you guys a little bit on the inside, says, oh, sorry! And he just kind of puts it over one shoulder, and turns to Thistle and says, oh, alright, Doc, you lead the way.
They do that.
So you march towards the lower level of the Guild of Letterlenders. So I'm going to say there are several tunnels that lead here from different thoroughfares and alleyways, and the loading bay doors, you get to them. The tunnels here are quiet. In fact, you pass several beasts in the larger thoroughfares, and they sort of nod at you as you're kind of carrying this barrel and leading Balthazar. And you get towards the Letterlenders, and it's just totally quiet. You notice that there are scraps, little bits of dropped string, a feather here or there, footprints in the kind of the dirt of the tunnel, and there's a general show that there was a lot of movement through here, maybe a week or two ago. Like, it's old movement, like sort of like when there's like a pride parade and there's all that rubbish afterwards, right?
Mhm.
Except no one's cleaned that rubbish up, you know?
So just like after Pride.
A pride parade.
Yeah, and the tunnel's quite wide, so clearly a fair few animals have come through it, and there's even cart tracks, like small carts, like wheelbarrow, but still, like tracks. And you get to the loading bay doors, they are shut, similar to the guild doors, the doors to these tunnels, the loading bay doors are big, but they have like a smaller door cut into that big door for regular passage, and both are shut. The lanterns are not lit. So you kind of go into the darkness here with your own light source and kind of maybe like light one of them, or maybe Icky Lucky's on your shoulder, Balthazar.
Yes.
So you sort of get to the door and it is just dark.
But I see everything fine.
Mm.
Shall I knock, Thistle?
Yes.
Boof, boof, boof. Hello! We're here!
It
We've
is
arrived!
quiet for maybe 30 seconds, a minute. And then you sort of hear little voices on the other side.
Who could be?
And then it's quiet again.
Hello! We've come here, you kind of glances at Thistle, to treat those out injured!
We say with stitches.
The Stitchers! The Guild of Stitchers is here.
The little door kind of and a mole, small with kind of red-brown robes and a little velvet fez cap, kind of half puts their body out of the door and says, we're not accepting visitors at this time. Thank you for coming to the Guild of Letterlenders. Have a wonderful afternoon. And then starts to close the door.
Balthazar, very friendly but very assertively, kind of shoulders, to keep the door open. Kind of like very enthusiastically peeks in, saying,
I want you to make a vigor check for me.
Okay. I would like to tag my undaunted trait. Like, oh, you want to close the door on me? No! So... Oh, wow.
So 1 and a 2, a complication. So I'm going to roll this as you just still don't know your strength, and you just bowl through the door.
Oh.
Like,
hello!
You don't just sort of, like, keep it open. You're sort of like, oh, hello. Boomf, and the door slams open, and the mole just, like, head over heels rolls backwards, and there are several other moles that all fall over, sort of like bowling pins.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, the door. And you kind of walk in. The hall here is lit with lanterns everywhere. It's bright in comparison to the darkness of the tunnel outside.
I will just say when they're like, oh, the door, Balthazar's like, oh, yes, of course. Let's Thistle in and then closes the door.
Yes.
Like, yes,
So-
I will, don't worry, of course I'll close it. I'm not a monster. Like, I don't live in a barn.
So you have entered into the loading bay. It is very clear here from all of the way that's laid out that... hang on, I'm just going to move the arrow. Hooray! That this is where stock is organized. There are several empty boxes here that are half unpacked. You can see there are several doors and corridors leading to other areas as well, but... they either have curtains obscuring them that are currently drawn, or they're far enough away that you can't really tell what's going on. Except, I will say, as he goes back to the GM level, you see down the passageway to your left, as you come in the loading bay, that there is like an office set up further down the corridor.
Okay.
So you say hello. The moles kind of all get up and they go, hello. As I said, we're not accepting visitors today. Why do you have a barrel? No. From orders from Dunkenny, we're not accepting any trades at the moment. Sorry.
Thistle pulls their little sigil on their necklace and is like, so right, Stitchers, here on official Stitcher business, fellow Stitcher, and they pat Balthazar's waist, kind of like a little reluctantly.
Yeah, you can just pat his big belly.
Just pats his belly.
Yes.
It's all right. We're just going to pass through. Which way to the upstairs part? The other stairs.
So I want you to make a willpower check to sort of have the gravitas of you flash your badge and don't mind me, I'm just doing business. Like that.
We should have gotten you a
take no shit.
I'm going to
Yeah, like
tag
that energy.
commanding authority.
Oh, yeah, of course. So is that a skill you're training or a skill you have?
It is a skill I have.
Get advantage then. Willpower at advantage.
I got a 6.
Perfect. Do as well as you can. So there are like 4 moles here, and one of them starts to question. It like raises their little clawed finger to go, well, and the other three are immediately like, oh, well, you want to go up the stairs and then, but maybe you want to go to the office, or who are you here to see? And they all sort of like, not shout over, but just sort of like shove the other mole to the side.
I cannot reveal that information, as it is, in fact, top secret.
They all immediately get like the glint of gossip in their eyes. Oh, well, of course, if it's top secret, then you'll just need a personal guide through the halls. It can easily get lost here, but we can help you. This way. And one of them starts to lead you through this door here. You move through a...
Wait, sorry, I'm not seeing if you're indicating anything.
I did a little click.
I did not see it.
Do you see that?
I see Balthazar moving. Now I see. Okay, I see it now.
I was on the wrong layer. Homophobic. So you're led into like a larger storage chamber. I'll draw as well. We love drawing. Purple. You're led through the storage chamber, through a hall full of like pens and quills and dry goods, and then up one of the stairs. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like half stairs, half ramp, and it kind of slowly curls and spirals. You move up the stairs, and you are led to this part of the map. It's a break room, and there are several moles here with books or scribbling on something. A couple of them are having some hot tea and biscuits, and they all sort of look at you curiously as you're led through the room with this big barrel. You move into this area of the map called the lower parlor, and the mole who's accompanying you says, oh, you can set whatever it is you're carrying here down, and I will fetch the guildmaster, of course, and they'll be able to help you with this very important business.
There's no need for guildmasters or anything like that. We actually know exactly where we're going. So we'll just be off. We'll just go do that.
The mole cocks their head a little bit and says, well, you will need to register then that you come in. Can I'm sorry. I didn't even get your names. Did I? He seems a bit lost. And Brian is like, did you say your names? I can't remember.
We did not.
No, we just kind of walked in.
Yeah.
My name is, and Thistle panics, Balthazar.
Balthazar like short circuits because like that's his name, and he looks at Thistle like with this like opening and closing his mouth like and he looks back at the mole. He looks around at the room, and there's a chair, and he says, "My name is Chairman."
Yes, this is the chairman of the society.
No, that's just my name. It's a family name. The great chairmans of the north.
All right, you're making it a bit difficult for me, but yes, that is right. I was lying before. That is not his title. That is in fact his name.
The mole is slowly nodding and says, Balthazar and Chairman. Right.
Balthazar kind of looks at him like, are you making fun of my name?
I want you to make a
Does
willpower
it not
roll.
sit... I would like
that's
to check
intimidation.
Unexpectedly menacing.
Yeah,
go ahead. Like, Balthazar's like doing like fucking Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like getting too much into his character, and he's just like, that's not a ridiculous name. How dare you? I'm making fun of my family name. And I'm going to unexpectedly menacing this poor man.
Okay. Oh gosh.
Oh, wow. Polarizing.
Critical success and a critical failure. Yeah. Good thing you had advantage. You lean over and you obscure like the light source behind you, like the candles, and you just leave this mole in shadow, and you're like, is there a problem? And this one goes, oh, no, Chairman and Balthazar, I'll go get the registrar and we'll just sign you in. And he sort of backs away towards the sort of chamber here and the front of the building. And he sort of goes to these doors and sort of like, kind of like squeaks one of them open a little bit and then sort of slides through and then closes it behind him.
So we're in the lower parlor?
Yes. Lower parlor.
I think Balthazar just very quickly takes down the barrel, kind of opens the top, and says, "This might be our chance now."
A little wisp of like dust comes out.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys want to crawl out now and just disperse?
Yes, I think so. Looking at the map, just trying to get.
So I'll describe the lower parlor.
bearings.
It's a large kind of boxy chamber with corridors that lead towards what seem like two large rooms. They have these double doors, and there is a spiral staircase with like two options that spirals twice, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That crosses above and over these two smalls here. And you've come through from the break room.
Okay. I think Pip, so she'll kind of hop out of the basket, very aware of the little cloud of dust that follows her out, and would help Nadag out of the basket too, and start like looking around and trying to figure out where to go first.
She has a sort of like wing print over her chest of like dust where you were like pushed up against each other. She sort of like rustles and kind of dusts and goes, well, I guess up is where the library is. Do you want to take the lead?
Yes. Let me see. Library. She's gonna start like crawling up the walls and like looking for looking for which way to go to the library. If there's like a vent or something that might take her up there. Just to clarify, there is the spiral staircase which will take you upstairs. Oh yes.
But if you want to look for a secret route, I want you to make a it begins with a D, and my brain is going.
Cunning?
Does it? Cunning! I was one letter away. One letter away. I'll make you make a cunning roll for me.
Yes. May I tag my shrewd gaze as I look around in this funny room for anything that looks like it could be small enough that I could crawl through it up to a library?
Yes. I want you to make a advantage cunning roll.
Thank you. Hurrah!
7. You look around and you notice this little box here on the map. That's a dumbwaiter. You sort of go behind a little cocktail bar in one corner of the room, and you sort of notice there's this like dumbwaiter elevator shaft, and it's big enough that you could squeeze into a box, and someone could rope you up, or equally Nadag could squeeze into a box and get roped up.
I think Pip would sort of call Nadag over and say, what do you think? Do you think we could go through here?
Yes, and I don't think anyone will notice us.
Good, okay. Should I go first, or do you want to go first?
Why don't you go? Because you're in disguise, and they won't notice you. You do it. It'll be fine. I'll pull the rope.
All right.
And then she kind of like squats behind the bar, and says, "Get in and do it now, before that mole comes back."
Pip crawls into this like little dumb waiter, and so, like sits like a little gargoyle.
You kind of gargoyle and fold in as tight as you can.
Yeah, she like folding her wings against her.
Nadag starts using like beak and claw to start kind of like start pulling you up, and you start to go up the shaft. Now, At this point, the doors click open as you are halfway up the shaft, and two moles enter. One is the original mole who led you here, the guide, and another is dressed in a similar set of red robes, red velvet hat, but has a clipboard and a blue sort of like collar sash, if that makes sense, like around their neck, with a key on it. Or several sets of keys. Like a lanyard, that's what I'm looking for. Like a lanyard of keys and various jangly things. And sort of jangles forward, and the mole says, "Oh, these are our guests. Yes, well, please, you should have come to the front entrance and not the service entrance. This is highly out of order, but I shall sign you in now. Chairman and Balthazar."
Balthazar reacts to both of these names.
Mhm.
And
Also, oh, sorry.
no, go for it.
It's just that with when that winch or the dummy weir thing starts like, in order to help a little bit with that, Balthazar would start croaking a little bit in time with it, so it sounds like he's making noises and not the contraption. So he's just kind of like, yeah.
You get. This feels like it would be a cunning check.
That's fine.
So that'll be a cunning check for me to croak in time to rely on your senses.
Yeah. I am going to tag a skill that I'm working on, which is power croak, in order to get the like timing of it right. Whether I succeed or not, that's a 2 out of 1.
2. It's a complication.
I'll take that.
Okay. So, I will. Do you want to face higher scrutiny of your character, of your disguise, or do you want to draw attention to the left?
I'm fine with scrutiny. I have a kind of backup plan in the back of my head, so...
So you start, like, croaking, and you realize that your timing is, like, offbeat, so you're croaking... It's like the winch goes... croak, croak, croak.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you quickly descend into a fit of coughs. You just... croak. And both of the moles just sort of look at you a little perturbed. They go, Chairman, are you all right? You should... If you're not well, you shouldn't be here in the guild hall. Also, Balthazar, what business are you here on? It's been told it's of the utmost secrecy, and I would know about that, being the receptionist, so you should tell me.
I think unless Balthazar, you have another plan, when the toad doubles over coughing, and Thistle is going to be faced with having to, like, come up with an excuse. They're just like, "Oh, it's all right, I'm a stitcher!" Trying to, like, pull Balthazar down so he's sitting on the ground. He's like, "All right, everyone stand back, I'm a stitcher. No, I'm trained for this scenario, I'm trained for this situation."
I think Balthazar's really confused. He's just like, he's trying to say that, like, no, I'm quite alright. And then, like, Thistle opens up his mouth and, like, looks at whatever he might be choking
No,
on.
I can tell you're terribly, terribly sick. Maybe Thistle gets out the thermometer.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You turn it on, and there's a beep, and, like, the two moles sort of like... Will you just surprise any animal? There's just sort of that, like, as they sort of jump up.
Mm-hmm.
They will just go, and take, like, a jump back as the thermometer goes, and then you stick it in, Chairman's mouth. And they go, "Oh, I don't think this is the right environment for surgery. Please don't get blood on the floor. It takes a long time to clean."
I've got to make sure he's got enough of it first. Let me just. You stand back. This thing needs plenty of room. I need plenty of space to work. They're just kind of like
unordinary. I advise that you. You see now a little door opens, and several moles are poking their head out from the break room,
Oh, no.
watching this toad with a massive thermometer in its mouth, and Thistle do whatever Thistle's doing.
Thistle is causing a scene in order to distract from the winning. But they're
While
also
this
really
happens,
in tension. They're
Yeah.
like putting on maybe more of a show and trying to impress these moles.
I feel like maybe you're doing chest compressions now on this toad. And
Yeah, I'm doing
like, because
everything.
Balthazar is like a toad with flexible skeleton. You're just sort of like doing chest compressions but on a massive pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have ribs, because frogs and
toad.
toads, I think. Well, yeah, but I think they don't have ribs because of like how they flop. Because actually, I don't know. Wait, do
I believe they
These
have
frogs,
ribs, but
though.
they're like in weird places.
they're like no, they don't have ribs. It's because of when they jump. So they don't just like crack their entire bodies,
Oh my
essentially.
God. That'd be awful.
Jesus.
Moving on. Pipistrel, while this is happening, you sort of hear commotion get quieter and quieter as you ascend. And you get up to this room here. I'm going to ping it on the map so you can see it.
Ah.
You get to the top, the box lifts up, you sort of like have that little thin crack of light, like, whoa, because there's no door, it's just a box. You have to kind of hold yourself very tight so that you don't get anything trapped in the moving shaft. And you arrive at a room that we're calling the consult. A large table is laid out in the center with small chairs, well, I say small, chairs of different sizes, and then large cushions sized for big creatures all around this table. It's ring-shaped, so it's not just a circle, but there's a hollow in the middle and a slight cutout that would allow beasts to go into the middle and presumably present or talk or move things around. And there are plates of food on the table, half-eaten. You get up to the top, and then the box of the dumbwaiter gets to the top, and there's a little ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding as the box clicks into place. There is currently no one in this space.
Ooh, okay. I think that little kind of like dingling noise, I think, would sort of startle her a little bit, so she kind of quickly crawl out of the dumbwaiter and up the wall into a shadowy part of the room. So she looks like a little shadow.
I say there's going to be there's a beam, a supporting beam here that you kind of crawl up and onto and then sort of like flatten yourself against. The box stays where it is. How long do you wait?
I think she waits like a minute, maybe 2 minutes, just to see if anyone comes or if she hears anything.
You are just about to jump down from the beam when you kind of scrabble back up onto it as a mole comes out of, I'm going to say, on my map, out of this place. You actually spot it from above.
Which place was that? Because I didn't see the ping on the map.
No, don't worry, I'm getting to it. It's just I have to move through multiple
Right.
layers and it doesn't show up. So this kind of like space here, you spot kind of the line of it. Right, where is there ability to draw a line on here? I think it's moved. Ruler, no snapping. This? Can you see? Yes, you can.
Yes, I can.
You sort of see from like a beam in the center of the room, you look and you see that these chambers are actually rooms sized for small beasts, such as yourself. A door, someone comes down from the corridor, the end of the corridor, and goes to the dumbwaiter. It's a mole, sort of yellowish grey, with a fez cap, but no robe, just a lanyard of keys. And they sort of look at the box confusedly, sort of tap it, and then click a winch, and the box goes back down the shaft. And they sort of look around, take the fez off, scratch the head, and then go back where they came, down the corridor.
Okay. Interesting. I think she's like, she's sort of, now she's like, well, now I'm here. Where on earth do I start looking? Because like, I can see, I guess looking at the map right now, because like, can she see like there's like other doors and stuff around this
Yes.
consult room?
So you would estimate that this way, these like passages here, that's the spiral staircase that you could have gone up.
Yes.
You know that these seem to be rooms that people live in, and there is this chamber here in this sort of like curvature. This mole came from higher up, if that makes sense. There are 3 doors, or there's 3 entrances. One here, these large doors, and another one that leads into this space here. And there are a set of 2 big doors and a small door that leads into this space here with these smaller chambers. They don't have any indication of what's inside, though these doors are grander. They are more innately and ornately carved.
I don't know where would be. I honestly just don't know where would be good to start searching. I think maybe. I feel like going to like the rooms, like the little rooms where the mole walked past. Like if they're like living chambers, I don't know how useful that would be. But maybe going through the grand doors into one of the smaller chambers might yield something interesting potentially. I'm not sure. I think I'll start. Yeah, I think she'll start by. I'll sort of kind of draw like if I'm assuming that the beams are kind of like that across the ceiling.
Something
So
of the sort.
Something like that. So I kind of I like to imagine that probably what she does is she walks along the beam, and then like she'll like scrabble along the wall, and then down through the through the top of the door. Like crawling down the wall and then over and like up onto the other side of the wall, like on this side from like here, if that makes sense.
So it is a floor to ceiling wall. So you do have to open the door to go through it. It would be you try to open the bigger door and it's just too heavy to sort of like one hand pull open with a little leverage hanging off of the ceiling. That's not going to happen. But the smaller door, you're able to kind of open. Crawl, I guess, like underneath the lip of the door and then back in onto the other room, and scrabble. You enter into this room here, and it is a large. I would describe it as like a lounge. There's a massive pile of cushions that even in this sort of like. It's got a dim, warm yellow light to it that you can see the cushions have like shed fur on them, like little kind of clumps and hairs. All of the doors to the chambers here are shut. There is, again, a tray of food, of fish that is kind of half eaten, and some vegetables that are cooked with it. There's a pile of like papers on a table. But it is quiet here for now.
I think I might, while it's quiet, have a quick look at those papers that are on the table, see if there's anything interesting.
You get down off of the wall, go over in this sort of dimly lit room. You start to kind of flick through. I want you to make a cunning roll for me. This is to sort of observe everything and get a feeling.
Okay. Am I allowed to tag anything?
If you want, or you can try.
I'm going to tag my unassuming presence, just because I'm aware that I'm covered in soot. So she's being very kind of light of foot and is kind of, moving very like methodically to try not drop too much like ash and stuff and like soot on the ground. And like she's gonna look at the papers, but she's not gonna pick them up. She's just gonna kind of like move them around on the table and try not to like leave any little grubby prints all over them.
I just wanted to say very quickly, sorry, just for the sake of for Atlanta, while you're looking around and wondering where to go, I have a question I can ask the narrator if you would ever like me to use it. For example, will we find useful information here or like whatever? Please keep that in mind. I'm very happy to use it for you in that way because I think it's probably the best use right now.
Definitely. Thank
I'm
you.
gonna mute myself again. So.
So, make a cunning roll at advantage, and the outcome of this roll is going to be more about leaving no impact in the room necessarily than divining lots of information.
Ooh, okay. Yes!
Another critical success! That is great!
I have packed that soot into my fur.
So I think the majority of the soot has now shaken loose. You've now just got the staining happening. You
Nice.
tiptoe very carefully, little click, 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 over the stone floor here. You go over to the table, and you sort of look at the papers. And from the brief kind of glance over, they seem to be movements. Troop movements. The maps aren't like anything you've ever seen before. They seem to describe an area very different to the Bristley Woods.
Interesting. Okay.
You do see the word fox repeated regularly. Foxes and hawks.
Okay. I'm gonna store that in the little Pipistrel memory bank for later, because that could be useful. But maybe not useful for what we need right now, but useful maybe at some point. Okay, so I think... I think maybe, so interesting stuff about troops, that's all well and good, but I guess if we're still looking for, information of the knowers, I think she's like, okay, I need to look for more specific things. So... is there, anything in the room that, indicates that maybe, magpies have been here, or, potentially, or, something that could indicate that, the knowers might want this kind of information, like books, or, bookcases, or anything?
I'm gonna say you search around the room, trying to look for this information, and as you are searching, casually, with a casual confidence, one of the doors to the chambers opens.
Uh-oh.
It's this one here. The door is big. It's one of those doors that was too big for you to open on your own, hanging from the ceiling. You don't know what's coming through the door. You have 2 or 3 seconds to react. What do you do?
She is going to scurry into the nearest, darkest corner to wherever she is currently standing and just sit there and pull her ears down.
So I feel like that's going to be a vigor roll because you're relying on just skills that you have and reliable kind of talent. And I'm going to say you have advantage because you did cover yourself in soot. So make a vigor roll at advantage, or it could be a different roll if you try and tag something else.
No, I think I'll go with vigor. I don't think I can tag anything that's going to be helpful here.
Well, you already have advantage. The tag is more to change it to a different skill.
No, okay, so I have nothing, so I'm just going to do a vigor roll. Okay,
good. So that was a 6. I didn't see the other die. Did you? Yeah, it was 6. You go into a corner. You kind of hide behind a cushion against the wall and peek out, and you see a glimpse of a massive creature, red fur, kind of walk on 4 legs underneath the door and then rise onto its haunches and sort of slowly tread over towards the table that you were just looking at. You see a glimpse of a large paw with white socks sort of pick up the papers, flip through them. There's a deep sigh that echoes around the room. And then there's sort of a crushing weight as you realize the fox has sat down on the cushions that you've hidden in.
Oh no!
And this sort of low, regal voice just seems to sort of be talking to itself. Just, what am I going to do? This isn't good. There's no answers here. And there's a shift in the weight. You're not crushed as in pain. You're sort of sat on.
I'm squashed underneath cushions.
Squashed, that's the word. You're squashed. And this fox is kind of laying on these cushions, thinking. Occasionally you hear like a slight rustle as a page is flipped over and something's moved.
I don't know what to do. Oh, where's my character sheet gone? I feel like Pippa's is kind of like she's slightly squashed underneath these cushions, but she's very aware. I feel like if she moves, this fox is going to know that she's there, and might not take kindly to the fact that she has kind of been snooping around his private living room, office space. I don't know. I don't know, maybe, I guess maybe she's just hoping that he starts talking more to himself so she might get some more information.
So, while you wait underneath these cushions, Balthazar and Thistle, what are you doing? You've put on this act of chairman being mid-death for about 5 minutes, and some of the moles are... They're all watching, interested, but Thistle, I feel like you're starting to run out of ideas of like, what can I do to save this toad's life?
I think maybe Thistle will ask, like, I've managed to stabilize him. I think what he needs now is just a place to rest. Have you got a quiet room I can take this poor man?
Well, if this toad is going to go elsewhere, I recommend that you take this beast to the Poultice Pounder's Hall. I think that's most appropriate.
It's too far. It's too far. Oh, yeah, he's got minutes to live. I need to get him to lie down right now, somewhere nice and quiet.
Minutes? No! I've so much to accomplish.
It's all right. I mean, talking to myself. Just reassuring myself it's going to be all right.
I think Balthazar is also convinced by by Thistle, so he's just like, he's worried. He's like, minutes, I don't know what to do.
You can see he's in distress. We need to get him somewhere safe.
I really think this is the appropriate thing to get the Guildmaster over. One of the moles starts to go up the spiral staircase.
As long as it just point us into a quiet room. It's all we need.
The morning hall is a little more private than this chaos, and one of the mole with the clipboard, the receptionist, kind of like opens up the door to this space here. You kind of go into, and it's just sort of several cushions arranged in a circle, and there's like a chalkboard on one wall. It seems like there's some basic literacy class was being taught here, but has since not convened. Sort of like through here, underneath the spiral staircase.
Yep, perfect. Just lie down here, Chairman.
Balthazar follows. I'm sorry if you hear my dog chewing on a thing.
Yeah.
Balthazar, who I guess still has Icky Lucky, or Icky Lucky has been like panically just using her antennas to like touch him because she's just like, something's wrong, I don't understand what. And he kind of scoops her up and goes and like sits on one of the cushions and is just sitting there in a shirt with a bug in his hands, like unsure of what's happening anymore.
You are minutes away from death.
Yeah. He's
this thermometer. You still got the thermometer in your mouth, and it's just beeping away.
Oh god. Yeah, he's like, I mean, half of the because he's so in his role, he's just like, Chairman will die. He feels fine, but he's like, Chairman's going to die. Like he's having a kind of crisis of identity a little bit because of this LARP that he has gone onto. But he's just kind of sitting there, sad and confused.
Have the moles left the room?
So the several moles. I feel like the receptionist is still with you, along with the mole who guided you through the room, and they're just sort of like tutting like, oh, it's such a shame to see a frog die like this. Oh, what a shame. And the mole that went to go get the guildmaster has gone. I feel like maybe a few minutes pass with some general like agonized groaning from Balthazar, who semi-believes that he is dying. No, Chairman is dying. Balthazar is fine.
Yeah,
Balthazar's
Balthazar's fine, but Chairman's dying. Yeah, Chairman is making just those like kind of like agonizing breathing.
I think Thistle is trying very hard to get all the moles out of this room.
Will you make a willpower roll for me to see how good you are at convincing them this is like, leave this beast in his final moments. He deserves to be amongst friends.
His best friend Balthazar.
Best friend Balthazar. Okay, can I tag Commanding Authority again?
Yeah, you can.
Was it willpower?
Yes.
Yeehaw, a 9.
A 9. You usher all of the moles out, and you're sort of like, shame on you for taking joy in such an auspicious moment. Auspicious? No.
Inauspicious.
Inauspicious. Bad. Fine. Blah, blah, blah. You sort of, you clack your teeth and wave your arms and flap your tail, and all of them kind of, the moles just go, ah, and they sort of like skitter away. You hear one of them be like, it's just like in my book. And a few moments pass, and then the mole that went away to go get the guildmaster arrives at the morning hall. You hear them kind of click, 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 click down the staircase, and you see they are this sort of yellowing, greying mole. It's the one that Pipistrel saw before, just with the simple fez and the cap. And they say, what have you woken me for? First the dumbwaiter, now this. What's going on? Who? And she sort of looks around the room, sees you, Thistle, and goes, oh, what is this random person doing in our guild hall? And then looks over and sees you, Balthazar, and goes, and her little eyes go from like sleepy little squints to, and she goes, why have you let a toad into the guild hall? And she immediately closes the door behind her, sealing in the four moles now. So the guide, the receptionist, the fetcher, and herself, and you two. She immediately says,
yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
It's just at this, like, Balthazar, I think, straightens up a little bit more. Because, you know, she's suspicious. And this is kind of where, because I got this idea as we were going in here, for Balthazar's own kind of plan B in case things go wrong, and he straightens up a little bit, has a little bit more like sober expression. He is Balthazar and not Chairman now.
Chairman has died, Balthazar is reborn.
Yes, exactly. From the ashes of Chairman, Balthazar rises. And he kind of observes her, like, with this, with this, like, very kind of
As you kind of, you straighten, and you take this more, like military at-rest position, if that makes sense. Moira takes 2 small steps back and says, where's the sword? Where's the sword? Ah! And she kind of just points a finger, and she seems almost, like, lost for words. You can feel, all of you, this scene is escalating rapidly.
Yeah. Balthazar will kind of put up both of his hands, like, in a, you know, I have nothing, kind of turn his shoulders a little bit so she can see. He just has the shirt, he's not hiding anything. And he's going to say, she's the, does she have some kind of title as just guild leader? That's the only thing we know, right?
Yes.
Because you said Moira, but we don't know that her name is Moira.
No, I think I said Moira because I'm used to her. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Balthazar will say, Guildmaster, please, I see that, for one, you seem to recognize toads from frogs. An astute observation, as it is a matter of toads that...
No.
Here.
She sort of, like, points a long claw at you that is stained with like repeated dipping in ink, like it's a writing claw. She sort of points it at you aggressively as she backs towards the door that she just closed. She says, "No, I'm not dealing with toads again. I'm not dealing with any of this. This is inappropriate. You get out of my guild right now." And she opens the door and points her claw towards like the front of the guild.
The toad that was here before, she is a toad that I'm trying to hunt down. It is a toad matter.
Make a willpower check.
Okay. I would like to tag one of my skills. I would like to tag my chivalrous etiquette to appear as, like, you know, a knight, a soldier, someone in law, someone who's pursuing righteousness. Basically, I want to be like that toad. Like, the implication I'm setting up is, you know, this toad that came here, I'm someone who's trying to find her, which is true, but also, like, you know, oh, this is toad business. She has committed, you know, like, I'm on your side.
Toad
I'm maybe
crimes.
one of the people. Toad crimes. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to assert here.
Okay, so make the roll at advantage.
Yeah.
Ooh, an 8 and a 9. You do as well as you can. You impose, and you say, "This is toad business, and I'm here on toad business." And she sort of... all of the attention of the room is on you. So I'll make a note for Eve/Thistle. If you wanted to sneak away or do something, now is the chance.
Oh boy.
And I will say, maybe just because you're kind of like slightly background to the scene, you kind of glance out the door towards the parlor and you realize Nadag is gone. Nadag is no longer behind the drinks cabinet near the winch for the dumbbell. Nadag has snuck off.
I think I will also sneak off then because I would like to find some information of my own.
So, where would you like to go?
I guess I'll... Sorry, can you remind me of like what the position is? So like we're in this little room.
Yes, so you're in this little morning hall here.
Which door? So I could just leave by this one door. Is that right?
Yeah, you could sneak out this door, which is currently open. You could just slip out. I don't think anyone would notice you. Nadag was here, but is now gone.
Okay.
There are these kind of staircase you could go up here, but you could also investigate the rest of the guild if you wanted to. You know the break room's through here, but there's probably lots of moles through there.
Yeah. I'd like to go up the stairs.
Okay, so you start to slink up the stairs as the guild leader turns to Balthazar and starts to kind of walk forward, first afraid, or like shocked is the better word, and then growing angrier. She kind of walks up with that claw pointed towards you and says, "Toad business? You can toad right out of here. Hop to it. Out those doors. I'm not dealing with another one of you. You made a mess of the library, and I don't trust you or any of your kind. Get out!" And she starts, like, jabbing at your belly with the claw.
Yeah.
And it's kind of really humorous because with the growth and size that you've put on, you're, like, twice her size.
Yeah.
She's kind of got, aggressive old lady energy.
Yeah. Honestly, Balthazar doesn't really take kindly to the, like, "I've had enough of your kind, hop to it." Like, these are some rude things to say to amphibians, like, to a, you know, a toad, a frog. Balthazar kind of straightens up, and I think he kind of takes offense to this language, sort of, and he just says, "Hop to it? Angry at my kind? Let's be civil here, madame." And he says, "It is regrettable that a toad of my order has caused some manner of stir here, but please do not be so hasty as to cast judgment on every other toad that you find."
And it's at this that Moira, she's angry. She sort of blurts out. She says, "You're kind. You know us. You get out. I'm done with you. I'm done with all of this. I don't want any part of this. Twice now you've ruined my guild hall." And she kind of points again to the door that Thistle, you kind of like, she points over but no one's looking. And we see like Thistle's tail just like slide away. Just like, ooh. And she says, "Get out. I'm done with you. You can fight out your little clan thing out there."
As I see, it is the Noahs who have been a thorn in your side. They have for much of the north of the Bristley Woods as well, madame. And it is the Noahs, exactly, that we wish to stop. It seems that our grievances are shared, in fact.
She looks at you with like a squint through one eye. And you seem to fail whatever kind of judgment she's making of you. And she just points at the door.
I think Balthazar kind of inhales loudly. And he says, I was hoping that I would find here guidance for continuing my pursuit of these delinquents that have been wreaking havoc to the north. But I suppose if I will not find any help here, I will simply have to pursue it elsewhere. I apologize for causing you grievance, madame. I will now leave.
Okay.
And he kind of like lowers his hands because it's like he's not gonna strong arm this old woman into information, and if she doesn't want to, if these basically if like his
so she starts she starts to, with the other moles following, not helping, just sort of like watching because it's drama. She starts to escort you through the lower parlor, towards the, sort of like just down towards the front entrance. And that's where we leave you for now. We go back to Pipistrel, who you can hear muffled below you, yelling and kind of shouting, arguing, two voices. And the fox sort of gets up, kind of languidly stretches. You kind of see, kind of peeking between two pillows, and sort of nudges the big door open up here. Goes into the consult room, and you hear them move through these doors and then start to walk down the staircase. Thistle, you see the shadow of a fox coming down the staircase towards you.
Oh god.
Like it just blots out all light as it starts to come down these stairs. What do you do?
Oh my god. I think they would freeze.
I'm gonna say you take a willpower damage.
Oh damn.
And a cunning damage. This is the consequence of just freezing. There is this utter bestial beast of sheer terror and panic as a beemoth walks over you. Completely just the size, the shape. You sort of stand to the side of this like staircase, maybe against one of these like supporting pillars, and this bleary-eyed, kind of blinking fox just sort of like wanders past, yawning, and your whole body has this flash of just like adrenaline and stress. And the fox walks past, doesn't notice you, no idea, and you sort of like find yourself like you can't stop shaking afterwards.
Yeah.
And you stagger to the top of these stairs, as you hear kind of like this fox kind of ask, where's Moira? I was yelling, what's going on?
I'm just little baby.
So
Does Thistle say that to themselves, like as they're walking up the stairs?
I don't deserve this. I'm just a little baby.
I'm just a hatchling. I'm barely out of my egg. Help.
So I'm going to say Thistle and Pipistrelle, you sort of bump into each other as you come back up the staircase out of this beam-off apartment suite. What would you guys like to do now?
I think. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
Just very briefly, when they do bump into each other, I think Thistle's still frazzled. Just like, oh, hello, Pip.
I think Pip sort of sees the very like wide-eyed, far-away kind of look on Thistle's face, and is like, are you all right? Did the fox see you?
Well, I don't know. What have we found?
She kind of like brushes that off and is like, right, we'll go back to that later then, I think. And she says, I haven't found anything yet. There was something here, and she points to the notes that she read about like troops moving and foxes and hawks and stuff. It's like, well, that's, I don't know what this is about, but who knows, might be useful for later. But I haven't been able to find anything on the Noahs yet, but I need to get through these doors. And she kind of gestures around to the other big doors. Maybe there's something in here, I don't know.
Could... Okay, so I don't want to put actions on Pipistrelle. But I do have my scalpels. Are the doors locked?
I think they're just big and heavy.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like a little lockpick or something.
That would be fun.
Well, I guess if we can try together to push on one door, see if we can.
Remember that you guys have the question if you want to find out if like a room or a direction will be good for you.
Maybe that would be. Maybe we should like. Yeah, I guess if I can use the question, maybe it would be pertinent to ask like, is this the kind of right area that we should be looking for information, or do we need to go and like search somewhere else?
I yield my question to Atlanta.
Yes, may I? Ver, I'm stealing your question. Thank you.
I am giving it
So,
to Atlanta.
what is the
right
question?
now.
How are you wording it exactly?
Eve, do you have a better way of wording it instead of my just nonsense?
Because it's a yes/no.
Is it worth expending all of our effort to open these doors?
It doesn't have to be yes, no. It's just a question about the consequences of an action.
Oh, okay. Is it worthwhile going through these doors, or should we go elsewhere, I guess?
Which doors?
Was it
Draw like
these
a circle around them.
or was it these ones?
Like
Oh,
ones?
these!
Because we're in here right now. In this because this is where this is like the foxes sort of
Right, I see.
parlor,
I'm sorry.
whatever you call it. No.
So, you asked the question, is it worth exploring this area? And the answer to that question is, the information here is not directly relevant to the current problem you're investigating.
Okay.
It's interesting and may prove useful for you, but it is not directly relevant.
Through some arcane knowledge, Thistle turns and walks out of the room.
Thistle has a moment of clarity.
I've had a vision.
I have a delivery I need to let in. Have a consider about what you want to do.
Okay. I think we should, even though it's interesting, I think this area also seems kind of dangerous. We don't want like another. We don't want the fox coming back. We don't want to get trapped in this location.
Yeah, that's probably.
So I think it's worthwhile going into one of these other other rooms.
Because we haven't seen, like, because that's the door. Oops, hang on, I'm not drawing anything. Ugh. There we go. Because, like, that's the door back to the, like, that goes downstairs. And then there are, like, these, like, bedrooms, I think, that Brian said. And that's a dumbwaiter. And then I don't actually know what's in this room.
I'm assuming this is the library, because...
Yes.
I think the library would be, like, above. I think these are probably just, like... If this is the main entrance down here, then I don't think any of these main rooms would be, like, full of precious info. So I think this is the library.
Returned.
Hello.
Hello.
What are we going to do?
We're going to come back out into the consult room, and we're going to head through these doors here. Yes.
You creak open one of the doors. You notice there's a smudge of soot on the doors in the shape of a wing.
Oh.
You open the door, which is oiled so it doesn't creak.
Oh god.
You poke your head into this room. It is dark, save for a single light source behind a bunch of shelves. It's an open plan library with loads of bookshelves that are aligned in sort of different spaces, and so you can see through the gaps of various black silhouettes of shelves a single light source at the center of the room, and the sound of pages rapidly being flicked through.
Oh.
I think we found our bird.
Yeah, I think Pip would nod at Thistle and sort of, like, whisper, like, Nadag, is that you?
And you creep closer, and this is where we're going to end the episode. You creep closer.
Ooh.
You move through the shelves, and Nadag is like, yes, I knew it. Wait, no. And you kind of creep up behind, and you notice that there is several of the shelves have doors over them, cases to protect them. One of the doors has very clearly been hacked off with something large and sharp, and then sort of, like, placed back on, but it doesn't shut it. And Nadag has moved this hacked door to the side and has been rifling through the books here. And you see that Nadag has got a little candle lantern next to one of these books, and you look over her shoulder and you see it's an old book with old pages, and you see inside a diagram of a toad-looking creature holding some kind of titan object. And Nadag hasn't noticed you, is completely enwrapped in this book, and flips over a couple more pages, and you see these toads looking through long tubes at depictions of the sky in sort of interesting stylistic kind of patterns and notes that Nadag is flipping through too fast. And this is where we end the episode. Nadag, kind of under her breath, just says, no. The toads aren't knowers, are they? No.
Ooh, conspiracy.
And then she turns over, she turns her head, sees you, and goes, ah! Knocks over the lantern.
Oh god.
And it smashes.
Oh god! Oh no!
Yeehaw, let's burn down another library.
Pip, you better be using your body as a fucking fire blanket.
We are Julius
And that is where we're going to end today's episode.
We're going to burn down the Library of Alexandria. Oops!
Okay.
Just pipistrelle things. Causing fire.
Well, it's not Pip, it's Nadag.
Let's blame
for that to happen.
Let's blame the crazy blackbird, the crazy blackbird conspiracy theorist. It's definitely Nadag's fault that I scared her and she knocked over a candle. It was definitely.
She didn't have to. Well, she brought a candle into a fucking library. I'm sorry, like idiot. She should know by now how prone fires are to start around our characters. Therefore, it really is just her fault.
Big of mind, dumb of ass.
So, we will be back at some point to explore an interesting revelation and maybe a string connecting several organizations together.
Ooh.
For now, we will say goodbye and catch you soon.
Goodbye.
Hi.
Peppy Pips.
Goodbye.
We did it! We actually recorded an
Yay.
episode.
Yay!
Good game. Okay, I
Nice.
immediately